Hey, what's up, Miss Rashad? Guess today, big cousin Nadia is back. Tony is still at WrestleMania. Upon further review, we got to talk about the biggest, blackest thing out right now, and that is Sinners, written and directed by the illustrious Ryan Coogler. And I was just thinking about his ascension,
Mm.
and also just the fact that they let him do this, and I don't, I think that that should be noted as well as lauded, because these things primarily don't get made. Now, whether you agree with the content or the topic or the subject matter of said film, I'm not really here to debate that with you. What I'm saying is the fact that this was done is amazing, because this has to be one of the most blackest things I've seen in film on a broad scale. I'm not talking about some indie stuff for like a TV series on Netflix that
Hmm.
got one series and nobody watched it and it canceled it because algorithm. I mean, motion picture in theaters, and yeah, like this right here should cement a couple things for you when it comes to how diverse and unique and special we are when it comes to making things and creating things. All right, so I
Yeah.
feel like this is one
Come
of
on, intro.
those. Yeah, yeah. I feel like this is one of those things where we see y'all do something, and we're gonna take what y'all do, and we're gonna make it really cool. Okay, because this is the coolest vampire thing I've ever seen in my life. Like I can't even lie. And the way that they kind of subverted the genre to me was like the best part. Because usually you have like vampires, right? And then you'll
Hmm.
have like, especially the past, like, let's say 25 years or so, you'll have vampire hunters. Ain't no vampire hunters. Because if you look at at the trailer, you would think that the twins were hunting vampires.
Yeah, you think something like they had some expertise or something just to set up. I was like, nobody knows what they're dealing. Well, let me not say
Nah,
that people knew what they were dealing with, but they didn't know how to big
sort
deal
of,
with it.
kind of. You know what I'm saying? Like they had like
Maybe the
some.
Choctaw.
Yeah, yeah. They definitely knew what was up, but they weren't telling nobody. Yo, shame on y'all, yo.
They said, "Ma'am, God bless you." They told us that, "Ma'am, is somebody dangerous at your house. I hope you
No, no,
didn't let
no,
them
no,
in."
no, no. They told the whites. They ain't tell everybody.
You right. You know what? Geographically, I needed to know where they were living anyway.
Hey,
Because where did y'all
and
come from?
and they told them through circumstance, not on purpose.
Like, hey, ma'am, is he in there with you right now? You know what? God bless you in your endeavors.
All spoilers, guys, as you should already know. Like, I'm not talking about this without, we don't do non-spoiler reviews here. So, and that's okay. Let's just start right there. The way that the Choctaw people were included in the beginning of the film as, like, just these different groups,
Mm-hmm.
and as we were going throughout the movie, I was like, why were they mentioned? You know what I'm saying? And then when we see them roll up, I'm like,
Chasing
oh,
Ramek.
literally roll up. I'm like, oh, okay. I get why they're here, because they really think that, like, yo, we're here to help, but y'all don't really want our help. And this, okay, this
At
movie is
all.
so layered that it's gonna be hard for me to keep a very strict thoughts when it comes to this. Is this
No, there's a lot. It's a
I
lot to
feel
it.
like I'm rambling and I'm not even 5 minutes in. Okay.
But
All
that's
right.
what I was
So
like. It's not a ramble though, because there's so many like just offshoots of different things that you can do. Like when you mentioned the just vampire film, vampire is fun fact. I love all things fantasy, so I was like in here with all my vampire lore. Like, what are we gonna draw from? What are we gonna pull from? And I feel like it was kind of cool that Ryan Coogler went with just classic, just real classic vampire lore, which I thought was interesting with Ramek running and with the initial him burning or whatever. I was like, that kind of made me side eye initially, because of the whole vampires and sun thing. And I was like, well, the sun is setting, but his back is burnt. Why would that be a thing? Who is this man? I was about to say something problematic. I was like, who is this? Who is this man running up to these people's house? And what are you doing, sir? And why are you missing the eye? Something's going on here, or
Yeah,
whatever. But then he
definitely.
gets there, and then again, the stopping at the door. You can only vampires can only come in places that they're invited or whatever. I was like, oh, this is so, and it's good to see that in a just you read about it, you might Google it, but to see it performed was like, this is good. This is some good stuff here. And they let him in. It's crazy. Little allegory there. Stop
Oh
letting
yeah,
people
yeah,
in your
yeah,
space
yeah,
in
yeah,
your
yeah,
house.
yeah. That's definitely the whole point, I think, of like of their storyline, and just the fact that when it comes to, especially at the time in the South, say, look,
Mm-hmm.
man, hey, we white, you white, that's all we need. And that kind of goes to the whole point of, like, I was like, the biggest one in this movie to me that a lot of people aren't talking about is the notion of, it struck out to me the most, is the
Mm-hmm.
notion of community. And
Mm.
there are several communities in this. We have, matter of fact, I wrote it down because it just was like, I have to make sense of this in my
Look, now I
mind.
gotta pull up my notes. So I was like,
All
let me
right,
see what he
so
locked
first we
me in.
got the town and its people, first community.
Right.
Got the Choctaw. We got the
Mm-hmm.
Irish vampire who wanted community, so he had to make his community. We got the putting the band together, a literal band.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? So we had Smoke and Stack coming back home because they wanted community. They didn't feel a community in Chicago, even though they
Mm-hmm.
was out here looting and philandering. They still wanted to come back home, even if it was for more capitalistic endeavors. They still wanted to come back home and do it.
The devil they know, like they said.
Delta Slim yelling at the Chain Gang
Yeah.
community because he was a part of that community. You know what I'm saying? Tell them to keep their head up, even though they got shot at. You know what I'm saying? The Black Church, deathly community.
Mm.
The Klan community.
Yeah.
All of these people wanting to be in community somewhere. Now whether it's
Mm-hmm.
in harmony with each other or at odds with each other, it's still community. And I think, to me, that speaks to me because that's where, like, I always want to be. You have to be in community with people, whether it's people that are like-minded, people that are going to be adversarial with you. You're still going to be in community with them one way or another. But it just really
Mm-hmm.
depends on how much you want to engage with said community, because the even the character which you would kind of view as an isolationist in Remick, he really wanted community. He said, "Look, man, like, I've been struggling with
Mm-hmm.
with being here. I'm struggling with, ever since I've been stripped of my culture and all that good stuff." And he's like, "Look, yo, I'm trying to free y'all. Y'all should understand me. You know what I'm saying? Like,
We've
you
both
black,
been oppressed.
you
We've
black.
both been oppressed,
You
which
the
I
more
think
you the more oppressor here. You know what I'm saying? Like,
which is a conversational piece anyway. And I was like, something I thought about this morning, people playing oppression Olympics, because he was like, you can't build, you can't do this, you need to come join us. And I feel like whenever you speak to the Irish community, or you ever get into those spaces, I love a Twitter debate, but you get to discussing it with folks, they'll bring that, like, everybody wants to play oppression Olympics, and that's what I kind of thought of when he was talking to them at the door. Like, I too have felt pain, sir. We know they had did some problematic things to the Irish as well, but we're in Jim Crow South right now. Let's not. But you're also trying to kill all these people, so
exactly, exactly.
it sounded good. I mean, it sounded like if you was a little less smart, you'd be like, well, But they already don't trust people that look like you, so sir. So whether or not you could have been selling the Holy Grail, they was like,
Now
yeah,
the the
nah,
the point is that everybody has a point.
right.
Everybody has a point. Like, everybody in this film, besides the Klan, had a point. So from Smoke and Stack coming back home,
Mm-hmm.
from all the people in the town just want to have a good time and party.
Yeah,
from.
they sharecropping. They tired.
I'm just saying they was paying with Confederate currency in
I'm so
19
annoyed.
in the early 1930s. So,
Oh, this will work on the plantation up the street. I'm like,
hey,
bro, y'all,
so
they giving you wooden nickels. They
what
are
year was
giving
this
you
movie?
play money.
What,
1932. I was
so
so mad.
so like you got to think about this too. This is fresh Great Depression era.
Hmm.
So there's a lot of things going on, not even just in their world, but in the world in general. So it's a lot to take in, with how the economy was sucking, the South was still southing super hard, and then we have these people who like, okay, like if you look at it from just the outside looking in, and not be like super critical, these people just wanted to have a good time, and that's kind of the part of me is like, dag, yo, they really just want to go out and and just relax on let's just say it was on a Friday and
Hmm.
just chill with their people, and that was taken from them and their
I
lives.
feel, I
Now,
feel so bad whenever they cleared everybody out. I'm like, everybody, please, everybody stay where you are.
don't go.
Please, nobody go outside. Everybody just do. Let me go to my car. No, guys, let them stay.
Definitely, because I'm like, man, there's no way that y'all should be, yeah, y'all shouldn't be out. Y'all should definitely be inside the confines of that building. Okay. All right.
And then even then, you were still going to get out somehow because again, vampire lore. That's why Grace lost her mind because they started tapping in and like the whole music and like fairies got that thing where they'll sing to you and it lures you, either to drive you crazy or it'll like hypnotize you. They was gonna get them. I just didn't know
Yeah,
how they was gonna get them.
like the sirens.
Love a siren.
Yeah,
Mm.
yeah. Can't wait till the Odyssey. Shout out Chris Nolan. Yeah, yo. So, yeah, it's crazy. So, what was the one thing that kind of impacted you most about this one?
The spiritual aspect. And this is something that, I'm a visual artist, and I've been saying this probably like the first couple of years. I don't know whether or not I didn't realize it until I got older or whatever. But like just seeing someone in a performative space and like, that's the thing that they're supposed to be doing. And, we're going to be super duper cliche. Well, I'm not even going to use my Beyonce reference because everybody's like, oh, Beyonce's so overrated. Like, no, you go to the show, you feel it. There's an energy in there. But we went to go see Stevie Wonder last year. And just being in that space and like listening to him sing and just thinking about the songs that he crafted, I started crying in the concert because there's something to be said about you using your God given talent in the manner it's supposed to be used. And like I said, obviously I paint and I draw and everything like that. And I know that's a God given talent. And other people are able to see that once the art is completed. Most people don't see the process. But for performative art, for dancing and singing and, acting and that type of thing, I feel like you can see it happening. And I in like that middle scene where because they kept talking about how you got these storytellers, these people that transcend time and space or whatever, and they just see I get chills every time I talk about it because I'm telling you some next level stuff. So I was like, that energy transfer is crazy, and you hear Sammie start saying, "Shout out to Miles Caton." Before I say anything else, it boy is blessed.
Debut role.
Boy is acted what down. First of all, he opened his mouth and his voice was like 16 octaves lower than you expected. I was like, that's crazy. But that's the like you just see him, and I feel like though like nobody else could have played that role just again because he got up. Ooh, that boy's anointed. That's why I was like, you just feel, and I think that's a good word to use, just the anointing that you kind of felt spread over. Even though people will say, "Oh, this is a secular film, this is that," but there were a lot of church elements that Ryan Coogler was able to roll into there, but and not necessarily the church elements that exclude, because I think there's something to be said about people not wanting to reference that, like using his dad. His dad could have been a very good representation of church bad or something that could turn into church hurt. It's like, oh, you need to stop doing this, but he got a gift. Like you don't know when he get up, he might be sharecropping, but he's got to share that gift with the world. He's got to tap into that gift. His daddy was like, oh no, you need to be doing it for this. You can't tell people how to use their gift and how they gotta connect spiritually. Now, granted, the devil came, but even with that,
He told him
but
it's
I
gonna
feel like his
come.
dead. You know what they say? What they said? Power, the power of the life and death is in the power of the tongue. His daddy put his mouth on him. You shouldn't have said, see. You see what he did there,
Hey,
preacher.
that is a notion to be explored. So like, all right. So of course we both being, you know what I'm saying, steep in the church like a, you know, like a overbrewed tea. The the black church aspect to me was, I think, handled really well because, okay, and this is for all the spirituality of it. Like some people are trying to say like it was a like a sort of a like a judgment on it. And to me, I looked at it more like of an acknowledgement of all of it. So because a lot of times you are looking to uplift one and then put aside the other. And this actually had everything all on the same level. So whether it was what's your girl's name? Winmu's character.
Woman, yes, women Masaku.
Yeah, yeah. What was her character's name? I forgot. Top of my head.
Annie.
Yeah, whether it was Annie, whether
Mm-hmm.
it was the Irish folks, whether it was the black church, or whether it
Mm-hmm.
was people who were sort of like agnostic in their beliefs,
Mm-hmm.
or people who didn't who had unidentified beliefs, like the Chinese people. So either
Yes.
way, like everybody in this film had some sort of relative spirituality, and this wasn't any. This wasn't like some sort of what's what I'm looking for here. We wasn't putting anybody's spirituality on trial. This was simply an
Yes.
acknowledgement that spirituality existed in this era at this time and in these forms.
And I think
So
even stronger, like because they of course you got the whole again vampire lore and all that other stuff. But so you've got different stories where they say like vampirism is a virus, but you got to think in 1932, you don't have the technology to interrogate that. You just you're literally leaning on what you can see and what you can feel and what is tangible, and you probably feeling things a lot stronger, which is not that's just my personal thing. They're probably feeling things a lot more back then because now we can explain so much away. Oh, the sun is doing this and the sun is doing that, and this is now I know.
yeah, it seems like because we have become more technological, there are ways to explain sometimes the quote unquote supernatural. But
Yeah.
when the supernatural can't be explained through science, then a there's a chasm, and those two sides can never coalesce at the end of that river. You know what I'm saying? Those two rivers
Mm-hmm.
can never combine. And I think the way that Ryan handled it, he handled it really well because it's really left up to your own interpretation. He wasn't leaning towards anybody being right or wrong or whatever. Because even when you go to let's use Miles' journey, you know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
His what's his name? Sammy's.
Sammy.
Sammy's journey throughout the movie. His whole thing is he's struggling with, I think, a lot of things that a lot of kids, especially kids who have parents that are the leaders in said church, where I have
Mm-hmm.
something that I know is burning inside me to do, but I also have this responsibility to live up to what somebody else wants me to do. And that was his struggle his entire life. Also,
Hence the I lied to you. Let's not just use that song. I'm trying, Daddy. I'm trying.
like that, like yo, like he said, this song I wrote for my daddy. Like, yeah, man, I lied, bro. I was like, my bad, man. Like, yo,
They're
I love
doing
you,
the best
pops,
that they
but
can.
like, I'll be out here trying to be a hoe too. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Period. Real eater. Real eater. We're gonna throw that in
oh,
there.
prime time, yo. Hey, man, the funny part about
Real.
that was like, I was like, again, I love a good callback. I did not know they was gonna call that back like that. You know what I'm saying?
And you know what's crazy when he first brought it up, I was like, oh, look at Big Hood.
Yeah, like just give me some sage wisdom about the vagina. But nah, yo, he
Because
used
I,
that thing.
like I'm not a boy, so I'm like, oh, I've heard tell of these things. It's crazy. Again, see it trend, and I feel like Ryan Coogler tapped into so many like little pockets. And I don't know because I'm not grown up in white America. I don't know if these are conversations that I had, but I can call them homeboys right now and be like, they be like, oh, that's crazy. Shout out to you, Ryan Coogler. Real black, real black.
Exactly, yo. It's the yeah. So those again, his whole life, even as we see like in the mid and post credit, was him struggling with with spirituality, and also the point of him feeling like he needed to be him. And I think like a lot of that now, especially like the way it is now, like a lot of that has been kind of resolved for the most part, and in a lot of more progressive ways. Because I know people who play in church, blah blah blah, but also their actual 9 to 5 is like, I tour with so and so, I play drums for so and so, I play guitar for so and so. So we have kind of made sense of like, okay, you love God, yeah, but you also need money, right? All right, so go play. You know what I'm saying? Quote unquote, don't lose who you are, but like
Mm-hmm.
just get your money. You know what I'm saying? Like, so because if a man doesn't work, man doesn't eat. So there's a lot of these things we
Period.
can go back to, and it's like, hey, well, y'all got me out here playing for niggas at church, but like I can actually go and play for real and get paid an actual salary. So yeah, so his
Well,
whole
see,
life was that.
trying to marry the two. It's like
Yeah.
trying to marry the two, but also the thing, like something that I like, just again to call back to the church and his dad, especially if you're so rooted into the church, like how can I put this without being sacrilegious? Like, so so okay, so it's Easter Sunday. Just got finished doing Lent, and I decided to read the Gospels while doing Lent this year, and just something that I can really get down with Jesus. He just did whatever it was that he was gonna do. Like he was just himself. And I think that so many times people are so ingratiated in the church, they like everything that like whatever the gift is like, oh, you got to bring glory to God. You got to be doing this. I was like, you don't know what someone's glory is. You can't define that for them. And that's why I was like, one of the other things with again the transcend like things transcending, like I feel like when people are in their element and they're in their bag and performing or whatever, that's the closest you can get to God and being like, and you can get reverence because that you're using your talent to do something. Like I don't. I feel like I haven't quite gotten the words to explain the concept yet, but I feel like people, like that's the thing that you always hear, like, oh, you need to be doing this, you need to be doing this for the edification, and I'm like, you cannot tell somebody how they're going to edify, how they're going to how they're what that looks like because you don't know. God could be up there like because you're not him. So I feel like his dad was like, "Oh, you need to stop doing this. You need to stop doing that." But I was like, "You need to know God on your own. Let him do whatever he's gonna do. Like, let him do his thing."
And also, this is like 1932. So like, so like some of this is going to be like, yeah, like this is kind of these was the vibes at that time. So the grace afforded to these people during this time period like has to be given and also remembered.
Mm-hmm.
I think some of us want to make very modernistic conclusions on something that is period based, because
Pretty common.
some of those things do have through lines through the current and modern black church. But I don't think this was a referendum on anybody's belief system at all. It was more like, to me, an acknowledgement that these things actually did happen and occur and were relevant to the making of this period piece. So yeah, that's kind of like how I felt about that part of it, because even on the post credit, Sammie's in church with his guitar playing this lighter
That's why I
line.
teared up the second time. I was like, as soon as
So
he said,
like
I
so
was
so
like,
so
ooh.
so to me, what that says, like, even though he's gonna end up scarred up deep down inside,
Mm-hmm.
like he know where his roots are. And even
Yeah.
with the mid-credit scene, he's like, look, yo, I've been doing this for a minute. Best part of my life was that night before I went left. That was that was the best time I've ever had in my life. And that kind of brings me to like kind of the second thing that kind of stood out to me when he said that. And that is the fact that sometimes whatever your thing is, that could be what you're trying to get high on.
Mm.
So the aspect of treating your stuff like a drug, and he's been spending his whole life trying to get back to that first high and can never get back to that. So think about it like so when at the end of the movie when his dad's like, yo, you gotta put the guitar down. Which and also I love beginning with it. I love beginning a movie where the ending is. It's so good.
Mm. Like, how did we
I
get here?
I love it, yo. And this is all one day. Anyway, when he has that guitar in his hand and he's like, you know what, yo, I can't let go. And we see him drive away with a guitar, and then
Hmm.
he ends up using the small part of that and rebuilding the guitar, still trying to get back to that original high that he had. And the fact that he can't get back to that high has been haunting him his entire life. He's like, because if you look at it, he's been a successful musician
Hmm.
the whole entire time. Like he's probably he's been a touring artist, a recording artist, probably got recognized the whole nine. He's been a successful blues artist, even
Hmm.
when they ran up on him with the Coogee sweater, you know what I'm saying, and the hoop earrings, which was
Love
so
that.
lovely. Ruthie Carter, man, needs more flowers too. Shout out Ruthie Carter. Even
I
though
gotta
you're a
go find
Hampton
her.
alum, we still got love for you. That's the poor black colleges. But yeah,
Period.
like she does an amazing job of costuming. Anyway, the fact that he was like, yeah, yo, what you miss the most? My man said, I miss the sun. I miss the sun. I miss the light.
When he said the whole free, when he was like, for a little while there, we felt free. I think that got almost got me too. I was like, I did like I heard it the first time, but that second go around, I was like, dang, that's crazy. Again, I'll keep going back to vampire lore. Typically, when you're an older vampire, you can stand the sun a little bit or whatever. But I was like, in this, in obviously in Ryan Coogler's world, they can't do it at all. And I felt so. He's like, that's the last time I saw my brother. Last time I felt the warmth of the sun. For a little while there, we were free. And I was like, dog. And that's all. What was he selling? The whole being a vampire was supposed to make you free. Going to Chicago getting this money was supposed to make you free. Killing your daddy because he was beating on y'all was supposed to make you free. Like all these things, chasing this freedom, and nobody. I seen an interview with a interviewer was like, I left out the movie like, dang, are we
Are
even
we
really
really
free?
free? Yeah.
I was like,
Yeah. Yeah,
woo.
because if you know we not like we as black people never been fully free. Like that we have concepts of freedom, but like we
To
ain't
frame it.
you know what I'm saying? We got pieces and ideas and like hopes, but like we have a proclivity to be free. But when it comes down to it, especially in America right now,
Yeah,
who really free?
yeah.
So yeah,
Well,
yeah. So
Ramen had told y'all he bites you. You could have all types of free. You know who ended up being free at the end? Smoke and Annie. That's who ended up. I feel like they ended up.
that's what
I feel like they.
and that's what almost got me. Okay. That scene right there. I just want to talk about how masterful that was. Because the funny part was he was standing there, was about to kill the dude that's on the building, the racist white dude, the clan
Oh,
member,
Hogwood.
yeah, Hogwood, and and Hogwood was like, hey man, who are you talking to, yo?
Mind your Hogwood. Give him a cigarette and mind your business. Always in somebody's business. That's the problem. You get too nosy. Piss
Hogwood
me
was
off.
so confused. Your man was having a conversation with the afterlife, and he was like, is this nigga talking to? You know what I'm saying?
Like
Like,
Hollywood, you not seeing nobody because you're bleeding out. It's crazy because you're bleeding out. You ain't seeing
nah,
nobody.
nah. He's seeing. Yeah, he ain't seeing her. So like, so that part for me was like, it was like one of the more beautiful scenes because there's a lot of beauty in filmmaking and stuff, but like this movie is leading more towards the rustic, rough. The beauty is in the the beauty in this movie is being able to actually overcome the nonsense, quote unquote.
Mm-hmm.
Like to the beauty is like when he when Stack, right, when Stack goes into the town and he sees all the people and he goes into the shop with the Chinese dude and he's like, hey, and the girl's looking at him like all sideways in the face. Also, I also love how they show that Chinese people always use their kids to run businesses from day one. Like that
And
was
they
it.
in the South. Like who
Come
knew?
on.
Well, a lot of Mississippians knew. They was like, oh, we do be a lot of Chinese. Like there
Yeah,
were
yeah, yeah. And then
a lot of Asian
and,
people
and
here.
then and then and where were they placed? In the black community. You know what
But
I'm
you saw
saying?
how the shops were split up. They had the one that was being run by their dad. They had black people in it, and the one that was being run by the mom. They had, I guess, a more docile lady for the white people. And I was like, that's crazy because I
That's a good
mean,
catch. I didn't even notice that. That's a real good catch.
it kind of blew me. I was like, dang,
But
I
but
forgot
still,
because you kind of forget that you're in Jim Crow, and I was like,
nah, we heavy. Jim Crow heavy in the Delta. So
ah.
the beauty wasn't that to me. But everything else was like, oh, this is trash, yo. Like it's a rough life right now that they live in.
They
So
picking cotton, ain't got no shoes on. I'm like, you and I didn't ever do, you hear about people doing a little field trip for those in the South that went to go pick cotton. I don't remember doing that. I do remember going to
never,
visit slave quarters,
never,
but
never did
I've
that.
been near cotton fields and just out of curiosity, crazy work that you're doing this all day and then you still have to do it because you're sharecropping because
You ain't
you're
got all
only
the you ain't got all the life.
what can you do even if you're educated because obviously we see the pastor we still see that Sammie's able to read because he was reading the Bible and was able to just give it to him. You might have these intelligent people but you don't have that many avenues without you leaving out of here, which I guess then you can go into the great migrations that happen, which is one of the reasons that Ryan Coogler, or one of the things that he touched on was his family being from Mississippi, but during the Great Migration,
They moved to
they ended
California.
up in
Yeah, yeah,
Oakland
which
or
is
whatever, and I was like,
yeah. What's in that book? The something of other sons, the warmth of other sons. Yeah,
yes.
so it talks about the great migration and how it was just racism adjacent.
Like you thought you remember when they told him that he was like, they ain't nothing but Jim Crow with tall buildings. I was like,
Yeah, yeah. Cause
rat.
come on now, like they talk about people going west to California, getting to California, like they lied to us.
Like, hey,
Hey,
no.
we racist here too, big guy. Nah,
Oh, y'all still don't like black people? Crazy.
nowhere, nowhere. Cause come on now, like even like think of like my family, they were all from the South. A lot of them migrated to New York, and some of them then migrated back down. So like there's
Mm-hmm.
this clear path of what they were trying to do and what actually happened. And we can see how what happened to the city in like the 60s and 70s. And then, of course,
Mm-hmm.
crack is whack in the 80s. So,
Man, you should look. I'm gonna tell you what. We was in the city on Tuesday. Everything is so different. It's real different. It's real different. Real different.
like
Even
this.
going to Allen's, even going to Allen's Bakery to go get my mama some Jamaican beef patties and some cocoa bread. I was like, oh, that's deep in West Indian Caribbean Brooklyn. I said, oh, there are white people here. When did this happen?
How do you think I feel watching it real time in Harlem?
Ooh,
I've been in Harlem at least 3 times a year for the past 20 years.
it is
And I've seen the change. It is quite ridiculous. Last time I went to New York, I see white folks running in Harlem.
And not because someone was chasing him.
Uh,
Crazy word.
for
You just,
exercise.
ooh,
Comfortable.
it's and I guess that lends itself to, and I'm not, not to say that everyone that that's white is not right, but having a comfortability and a familiarity in a space. But we call back to the movie. People was chilling. They was in the high. They was in the juke doing their thing. Here come Rami. Here you come.
Hey,
Stay out people's spaces.
I love music. We be doing music too. Do y'all want to
Yeah.
hear a sample of our wares?
Pick poor Robin Clint. And you know what I heard last night when they were singing their song, and then whenever at the end Sammie did this little light of mine there, because there's a lot of duplicity in this movie. Obviously, you got the twins, and then you got like just all these parallels. Pick poor Robin Clean and this little light of mine are almost on the same. For the musicians, it's on the same. I don't know what the beat cadence would be called, but this little light of mine,
Cadence.
pick for a
Same
rock.
cadence.
Yeah, pick for a Robbie. I was like, but it was dark over there. Like that's a very eerie song. Pick poor Robin Clean. They didn't say pick poor Rob. That Robin is a person. They ate him. But and then you got this other side of this little light of mine, which is such an uplifting song. I was like, did you mean to do that, Ryan? You probably did because you locked in.
It is the same cadence. Okay, all right. So now we did. Let's talk about music. So, for the past,
So
I'll
good.
say 3 years, I've been trying to tell y'all on this podcast that Ludwig von Gorsen is this generation's Quincy Jones, and you all don't want to acknowledge that, and it's pissing me off. Ludwig von Gorsen is this generation's Quincy Jones. And if after this movie you're not like leaning towards my opinion, I don't think I can take your opinion seriously anymore. Because this man, this white man, is single-handedly putting it down every time he does something.
You don't
I
miss.
don't I don't care if he's doing a movie with Ryan Coogler. I don't care if he's doing a movie with Christopher Nolan. I don't care if he's making songs for Childish Gambino, aka Donald
Mm-hmm.
Glover. He has not missed. The minute the movie came on, I was like, I know Ludwig is probably doing this, but like it's still crazy that he's doing this. And when I got out the movie theater, I said, let me make sure. And of course it's Ludwig. Because that's his partner between Ruthie Carter and Ludwig and Ryan Coogler. It's like and Michael B. Jordan. It's like the dream team right now.
Don't miss. They do not miss.
Like, I don't know what else y'all like. I don't know what else y'all want. The music in this movie is the foundation of the movie.
Mm-hmm.
And the way that they are able to intertwine and talk to each other and also lead you down a path is the most amazing part to me because there is no throwaway music in this movie. It all has a point, it all has a purpose, it all has a path. And also it's not corny. Because sometimes you can have a song where it's like hella on the nose, and you'd be like,
Mm-hmm.
oh, okay, I know it's about to happen in this Tyler Perry scene. So like that's not really what this is. It's very poignant, sometimes subtle, and sometimes bombastic and very black. And the fact that this white man is able to understand that to me, I think is and also acknowledge it and then be respectful of it is the best part because that rarely ever happens. There has to be some sort of
Yeah.
sensitivity to to be able to be white, but then do this black music correctly. So
So good. Just,
when we get the beginning, he's at the church.
mm-hmm.
And then when we get to him playing his song, matter of fact, when we get to shout out to one of my favorite actors of all time who doesn't get spoken much about enough in these circles, and I'm sorry, in larger circles, and that's one Delroy Lindo.
Period.
I love Delroy Lindo. I've loved that man ever since I saw him as a younger teen in Crooklyn. When I thought
Mm-hmm.
Crooklyn was going to be like, like a typical 90s, like straight out of Brooklyn, Juice type movie. When in fact, it was about a family from the city who had to go to the South for the summer. And a
Mm-hmm.
black man is dealing with, grief and how his kids were dealing with grief. And that movie always made me cry. But I wasn't in an emotional state to be crying about the movie at 13. So, Delroy Lindo's character of Delta Slim, he was so good. And him at the train station doing this thing and
Mm-hmm.
and playing for money. You know what I'm saying? Say, look, I've been in this spot. I'm just here to get me a little drink and I'm gonna go home. Like that just shows you just how beat down this man was. And he was expressing it through his music. So he was essentially exploiting himself just to be an alcoholic. Again, you just chasing that high. So his character and his music, the ride to I remember they were getting the band together. So
Mm-hmm.
him in the car telling Sammie to play, even they were playing at the train station. And then we saw Haley Sanford Grace, what's her name? What's the character?
Mary.
Mary. Yeah, then we saw
Ooh, I sound
Mary.
real country right then.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Hey, I mean, it goes with the movie. So so then
Because
we
the
see
vampires were from North Carolina, apparently.
for real?
You didn't hear when he said he was like, "Oh, we just from up the street." Oh, up the street, whereabouts? Whereabouts? Oh, North Carolina.
Oh
I said that don't
yeah.
even make sense. Because how would you get to Mississippi from North Carolina? You should have said South Carolina because I know you didn't walk here. See
Yo,
the lies.
that's a hell of a trip, yo. He probably flew there.
Lying.
That white man
He
was
did because
flying.
when he tried to, yo, when he jumped up the first time, I said,
He got
and
hops.
then it cut back into the juke. I said, yo,
That's funny. So, but yeah, like so they in the car playing and singing. The Chain Gang singing.
oh,
Um,
they sounded really good too. Just
yeah,
everybody sounded great.
yeah.
Oh,
So like again, the acknowledgement of black music on so many different levels in this
mm-hmm.
movie was great. Like you mentioned earlier, Sammie's song about Daddy, I lied to you. Still love you though, but I'm gonna be a whore. And
He just wanted to play the blues.
I
Not you
know,
made him a hoe.
hey, I know. It's
He
just
was a
funny.
little bit.
It's just funny to say that though.
Perlene, hey Perlene, where you
Yeah,
at?
yeah, yeah, yeah. He was singing the songs and he could be a whore. I mean, come on now, like that's why he
He
did
was
it.
on her.
Yo, from the jump, he was like, yo, she's like, I got
Oh,
a
I'm
husband.
married happily.
Like, I don't see no,
I said, okay, Sammy.
I don't see no husband.
He said happily. He would. Ooh, he was Ryan Coogler. I was not familiar with your game. Sammy was just as smooth
I,
the whole movie. I said,
I'm just saying, like, those is whore tendencies. You know what I'm saying?
I don't know. I live such a chaste life. Wow.
That doesn't mean that you have been surrounded by whores once or twice in your life.
Probably about 90% of the time, but I'm a live kind of person.
Hey, me too.
Like
I'm
go
just
off,
saying. I'm just.
go off. And
I just
I
saying
was
that
so
those
impressed.
is whole activities. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Oh, those your cousins? Oh, y'all must be play cousins. No, my daddy and they daddy was brothers. You seem like such a nice young man. I ain't always nice. I said, hey, look, hey.
I
I
mean,
said, hey.
he told you he was a whore. You know what I'm saying? He just ain't never had, you know what I'm saying, the
The
delicacies
opportunity.
of congolangas before. That's it. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Like, yo. That's why I
come
said,
on.
what?
Hey,
This
hey,
is a
hey, hey,
sidebar.
hey, hold on
This
real
is for the
quick.
freaks.
Yeah, 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 yeah. It was some freaks. Also, he was a PK, so you know he was a freak. Anyway.
You know what? You know what? You right. You know them. Wow.
Hey, quite
Wow.
well. Come on now. You know he was whoring about. That's why his daddy said, "Hey man, you can't play that guitar no more over here," because he already knew.
I need you in the because remember he was like, I want you to help me do my sermon tomorrow morning because he was like, I don't need you out late. I need you here in the morning. I need you beside me with these kids. It's about 12 of them. Oh my, I said, Lord, I forgot these are sharecropping times. Why y'all got 17 kids? We gotta pick the cotton. We gotta make the money. But if you have less mouths to feed, maybe we don't need all that money. Neither here nor there.
Nah, nah,
But
nah.
that's why I was like, this movie was freaked out. I said, this is too much. If one more person spits so bad in mouth, I'm gonna throw up. I said, please stop spitting on each other. I can't.
Yo, wild. But
Somebody
not,
in my movie theater was like, hey, I said, wait a minute.
nah.
Why would you do that?
I told you be around horse. All right, so and I think and also like him using First Corinthians 10:13 as the anchor scripture to the theme of this movie was so good. And I'm just gonna say it for the folks. It is Easter Sunday. They have no temptation take you, but such as is common to man. But God is faithful, who will not suffer you to be able to be tempted above that ye are able, but with temptation also make a way to escape, that ye may be able to bear it. So
Mm,
that's again, that's Sammie's, that's his story.
hmm
But here's the thing, and the thing that I love most about this is that let's just say God made a way of escape for him,
hmm
but he still didn't let go of his quote unquote sin.
When do
And I think that has to be a very sobering message for people, especially if you're in the soul saving business.
hmm
Everybody ain't gonna want to be saved.
That's ooh that ooh
You know what I'm
ooh.
saying? Because again, like I said earlier, he was too busy trying to chase that high.
hmm
And his entire life was trying to chase that high and never could reclaim the feeling of being in this juke joint that was a killing grounds for animals. Do you
Literal
understand?
slaughterhouse.
Do you understand that?
Mm.
The place where they were trying to have fun was a place where they were killing cows and pigs. He's like, yo, you gonna clean this up? I said, nah, y'all good.
Well, you
It's
heard Ramek. He was like, this was never gonna be a juke. This was always gonna be a killing ground. I was like,
always gonna be, it's always gonna be your, this was always gonna be your death. You feel what I'm saying?
precisely.
So just the awareness of that aspect. Again, this is one of the most better written things I've watched because
It really
stuff just intertwines so well. And it's not super heavy handed. It's just it's okay. I love when media just presents something to me. Say, hey, here are the things. I
was.
know I know you're not dumb. I know you're not dumb.
Period.
I don't know, and I know you're gonna figure it out. I know it may take you a couple of times to figure it out, but you're gonna get it. And after
hmm
you get it, then you can draw your own conclusions to it. I love watching stuff like that because it's not trying to force feed me a narrative. It's just showing me, hey, this is what it is, and this is what I wanted to tell. Now I hope you have fun and enjoy watching what I presented to you, and then they move on because like after this media stuff is done, Ryan Coogler is not going to be seen in public until the next
He
until the next thing happens.
this first run has been amazing. Like, and and everybody keeps pointing out, and I didn't think about it until they said he don't even be talking to people.
No,
He
he
just be
don't.
doing his thing and going. I was like,
He
you're
don't
so charming.
because okay, the most I've heard him talk was the Wakanda Forever podcast they did,
hmm
and he was talking about the movie stuff with different people who contributed to it. And I was like, okay, that's cool. Because I've heard him talk before. Like, people, like, niggas ain't even hear him, like, speak. Like, I'm amazed by how this man has been doing films since, like, 2016, 17, 2015,
hmm
something like that. And they never heard him talk. I'm like, fam, like, come on, yo. Like, I understand he's a bit of a recluse, but he's not, like, a nomad. So, like, I've heard him talk. I know he's from Oakland. I know he has a
That hard accent.
very, very Oakland accent. You know what I'm saying? He
Love
sounds
that.
like Too Short times 10
Love
with
it.
a small stutter. And to
Yeah.
me, like that, like I appreciate that because he is unashamedly saying this is just what it's gonna be. And for me, who is probably the exact opposite of that, I have always prided myself into words and trying to sound and enunciate everything super correct. Like I just is always was in me. But to see somebody who is exact opposite and still maintain this level of blackness that I always aspire to have, it's just very very inspiring. And I hope that people when they see this and they hear him talk and the passion he has about
Mm-hmm.
his stuff, that they would lend him a certain level of credence to not have to switch it up and not use that as some sort of weird way to have some talking point for whatever you want to talk about, and just accept that it is what it is. And he's really killing it right now. That's like that's it for that. But like I forgot what we was talking about. So
I know I'm not doing enough. That's what I took for this movie. Just listening to him interview, and then like I said, we were in the city on Tuesday to see one of me and B's favorite artists at like an installation she did. I was like, I left out of there. I was like, I'm not doing enough. And then we went to go see Sinners, and I was like, I'm not doing enough. Like, we got to go bigger. We got to do more. We got to share more with the world. Like, it's just. I'm not gonna say I'm gonna quit my job because we need a check. We got to maintain. But
I feel you. I feel
like,
look.
like
I
I'm
feel you
not
on
doing
that.
enough. But I did my first show a few weeks back or whatever, and I was like, that was cool. And everybody's like, oh, isn't that? Da, da, da. And I was like, oh, I do whatever. No, don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. We're gonna figure it out because I'm not doing enough. Like to hear Ryan Coogler talk about his passion and to see our CJ Hendry like manifest her artwork into this thing that has brought so many people joy and thought provoking and all this other stuff. I was like, I need to lock in.
I really feel like there is there's a fight against black creativity that that we I think we try to fight that like every day. Like even on a small level, whether it's overt or covert. Like even the fact that the Met this year is having their theme around black dandyism. And
Oh, okay.
like I don't like dressing up. I really don't. But I do appreciate that. And when I do dress up, I try to go extra. So I'm like, yo, like, that nigga cool as hell. Like, that's what I want you to say. So, so there's this fight against black creativity. And if you want to like say that we're all God's creation and that we're part of, Elohim, the creative God, then there's no way that black people can be creative. And it took me a long time to figure out that we're creative in our own way. Like
Mm-hmm.
creativity in your mind, it may not be art, it may not be sports, it may not be whatever, but your creativity could be like organization. Your
Mm-hmm.
creativity could be like, you know, how you see the world. It could be your creativity could just be your thought process because nobody thinks like you. And when you say something, you put people's mindset in a different perspective so they can see things in a different way through a different purview. So,
Mm-hmm.
and even in this movie, like when it comes to the vampires, even though they would tell you we were going to be free, they still were stifling black creativity. Because you know why? Because they want us to live in a hive mind. And I think that aspect of the vampiric group was very interesting to
Mm-hmm.
me because it was mentioned earlier and oh my god, what was Wimwood's character's name?
Annie.
Yeah, Annie was like, "Hey, I think that I'm not sure if one affects all, right?" And then we
Mm-hmm.
see later on when he got hit with that guitar, they all were screaming. So I was like,
Yeah.
"Oh snap! It's a hive mind." And then and again and again, when something is presented to you and just saying given to you, like you're smart, you can figure it out. Whenever anybody got bit, they had the knowledge of everybody. That is a
Mm-hmm.
clear indication that there's a hive mind going on. So when it comes to that, like even like so okay, so even when they were free, quote unquote free, they were assimilated to what
Mm-hmm.
his wants were. Everyone was out there doing their best river dance, singing their
Cutting up.
singing their Irish traditional Irish songs because that was the freedom and the community that he wanted for himself. So even though
Mm-hmm.
there was this you can be free, there was still a very selfish nature about the community that he wanted to build. Hence, all the black creativity that was there then died. All that black creativity died in that moment. And then by the end of the movie, it died from the sun. So all
You
that
know, I
creativity
don't know
is
if you
dead.
remember what's my girl? Was it Jan Burt's wife? Whenever she was like, just want to do, we just want to have a group of our own of love, and the way she did, for whatever reason, I don't know
Yeah.
who I watch on YouTube that be watching stuff about cults, but like last week, I just had like a deep dive on like the hundred cults of the world or whatever. And that was a common thing where, especially like the ones in the 60s and 70s, when everybody was LSDing it out or whatever it was that. When she went, when she was like, "We just want love," and such, I said, "Oh, y'all are in a cult. That's great." And it's not a cult of your own. Like you didn't want to. And again, just general cult lore that you again watching the videos went on a deep dive. Nobody ever goes in like, "Oh, I'm going to become a cult member." It's like, no, we're trying to provide you this thing. We're trying to get to the point, and you knew that they wanted to feed off of you because every time they get ready to do something crazy, what they start doing, drooling. Like when Remick started drooling the first time, and Haley was like, "Hey, B dog, you got a little something there," and he immediately turned it off, which was so wild to watch. I was like, "Now she got a little out of control there, sweetie." Same thing with
Yeah,
her drooling. I was
I'm
like,
about to get some of that.
"Yeah," I was like,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
what was, I don't know if we talked about I don't think we talked about the middle scene yet. Whenever Sammie like transcended, and then everybody like all the different times and culture started coming in and started like melding together, like that end note that he does, and it goes up, and then you see the roof catch fire, and then it just first off, beautiful, just shot. Oh my goodness, the shots in this movie just did it for me. But that shot when the fire goes out, and I was like, it was almost like tweaked just a little off, where it went from we're all transcending to we about to start calling something we don't need to call or whatever. That way,
Yeah,
like,
yeah. So what happened was that that note went from this like kind of major to this very dissonant,
mm,
minor dissonant chord. And it's okay, so whenever there's dissonance in a song or like in a note, it's unsettling. It's the whole
mm,
point of that dissonance. It's like you have I know a very small amount of music theory. So let's just say you have a major chord, right?
mm,
And then you throw in something like a seventh in it.
mm,
The chord is then gonna be like, what is gonna be like? It's gonna sound okay, but something in that sounds very menacing. Okay, so imagine like at the end of I used to do this when I was in college, right, to mess with my band director's head. So we were playing the end of the Star Spangled Banner. In the home of the brave. No, the end chord is like very, very major, very,
mm,
it's like, it's a release chord because the song is over. And I would say, brave. So he'd be like, what? Who played that seventh? And it would always be me because it was fun to do. And that's
a
what,
minute.
yeah. And that's what they did there because it's like, and then they added on to it because it's like, ooh, this thing that was looked at as just, again, this fun time ain't really gonna be a fun time. Like they're really Nadia. The roof, the roof, the roof is on
The roof
fire.
is on fire.
We don't need no water. Let them
Yes, we
burn.
do. No, we do, because it's vampires outside. They're gonna get in. Yes, we do.
But I'm
Put it
saying,
down.
man, like This movie is so black. Like,
That's why I was like, when I seen the review over, I was like, Ryan Coogler, you're mine, man. You know what? Protect him at all. I mean, you know what? Protect him because I don't want this to be a get out situation. You remember in Get Out, he was like, "Your eyes, man. I want your eyes." Ryan Coogler, your mind, man. They want your mind. Protect him.
I'm
Protect
just
him.
saying, man. Like, this movie is so beautifully black, and that's what I think. Aside from just the moments and the themes and all this stuff, I think that's the part that I love the most. Is that it's just
Mm.
it was so unapologetically black. I'm not even okay. I'm not even sure if I had any real cogent thoughts this entire pod. I just want to. I really just want to explain just how great this was. Like I saw this.
People go see the movie.
Yeah, me and Maddie saw it. Maddie was like, "Man, strong 9 out of 10 for me." And Maddie's a worse critic than I am. Like Maddie be criticizing everything. She's like, "Yo, this is so good, Dad. I'm trying to see this again." I was like, "I don't know when I'm gonna have the time, but we might try to
Shoot, I went
sneak it
last
in."
night. I was like, no, I need everybody. I was like, I went to work because I saw it Thursday night. I went to work. Y'all need to see Sinners. Like before we talk about anything else, you need to go
Bro,
see
like,
Sinners.
yo, like, and I'm gonna be mad going to work tomorrow because I know ain't nobody saw it, yo. So like, we not gonna have nothing to talk about. I'm like, don't talk to me, yo.
I'm finna go find somebody. That's because I have drill tomorrow. Somebody in that building has seen the movie, and we are going to talk about.
That's why I was like, yo, when are you free? Because I can't go the whole weekend without talking about this because eventually I want to listen to other people's reviews and stuff, and I
Mm-hmm,
never do a review and listen to other people's reviews first
mm-hmm.
because I want to make sure I have all of my authentic thoughts and takes before I even try to indulge in anybody else's because that just doesn't feel authentic to me, man. But
I feel bad.
like yeah, like think about it, right? We talked about this for almost an hour and didn't talk about the scene until now,
It's because it was, you know what? I feel like even if you don't even get
and that's
to
my
them
favorite
transcending
scene in the
time and
movie.
space, I think just shot beautifully. And I think something where you had mentioned earlier, where music and how a scene is scored, it can come off as corny. The fact that they came in with the with shout out to West Africa when they came out with my guy playing the lyre. Initially, I was like, wait a minute. I was like, wait a minute, we got a shaman right there. Then we got my other guy on the electric guitar. Then you just start hearing all these other like, which I don't know if you've done yet. Listen to the like just listening to the soundtrack just by itself, just to hear that where Miles Caton takes that note up when he's singing, and then it goes into all the other music, and you just hear it start layering in. Like I said,
It was great. I mean, we got all basically
something.
all facets of black music in that little like maybe like 2 minute scene.
It was so good. It was so good. I said, God,
Like
this.
I can't explain just how great that was. like man, like it's there's a lot of things. I feel like somebody can more eloquently explain this than I can right now, but this just was really good. It just was good. Like the way it was shot, the way it was integrated. And again, Nadia, this notion was presented to us before this happened. We didn't give it a whole lot of credence. I thought about it. I was like, oh, this could open up visions of the past and the future. I'm like, the hell does that mean? And then I saw it, and it
In
was
real
so
time.
good in real
But
time.
you know what? But remember the setup at the beginning. They was like, but also because something that I love. I'm trying to think they do it on Yellow Jackets too. Like I've been more into my like thriller suspense type of viewing here in the last year or so. I think I'm
Yeah, me
getting
too.
better. Maybe I'm getting like
Me too.
I'm able to broach it a little bit more.
Yeah, I'm
But I
watching
love
Last
when
of
they
Us and
do
not like totally freaked out.
like yeah. But they did the line drawn at the front, and I was like, oh, it kind of it looked very crude because again I'm all right girly. So I was like, oh, I love the idea of like a cave drawing or something like real rudimentary, but it hit real hard. And whenever they panned around, they was like, although it can bring healing, it can bring all these things. it also calls to negative spirits. And I think that was something that could have also, if you something that was layered in there. Like if you got a gift, they always like don't try to find energy vampires because people will see your gift and they'll try to attach themselves to you, or they're out to get you. Well, my mama, and
Yeah.
that's always been a thing for her or whatever. She was like, don't let people use you. Don't like kind of a little overly mistrustful of people,
Yeah.
but that's also people in, I guess, in the vein of Annie, like that there's something there and you have to protect it. Like the mojo bag for Smoke, um, her wearing blue the entire movie, her having her house painted blue. Though if you're not familiar with Gullah Geechee, that's the thing that keep Hanks away. You paint your doorway blue because spirits ain't supposed to be able to cross water, and blue is representative of that. So just like people trying to protect the thing, but even with the protection, sometimes it might get out. They might get to you.
It's
And in
out
this
of your
case,
control.
yeah, they was trying. They was like, well, we came here for Sammie, so for real, like, yeah, y'all cool, but
Y'all not even
obviously Stack,
necessary.
like
Yeah.
Stack, I want you, like Stack, I want my brother, married. I want Annie because we are family, But Ramek is like, well, I'm trying to see my people, and I know that you can pierce the veil. And to a certain extent, I was like, dang, I wonder what would have happened if they would have been able to if they would have turned Sammie into a vampire. We would be having a whole different story, a whole different conversation now, because he'd have got the world because he was able to pierce. He was able to that hypnotism would have been just off the charts. So glad they didn't get him, even though they damaged his face. I was like, please don't let them get. The people in my movie theater started clapping whenever Smoke stabbed Ron. Like, did y'all think Sammie was gonna die?
Hey,
Did
yo,
y'all really think he was so
hey,
beautiful?
I gotta say, man, shout out to the black people who came for the early opening, yo. Like, I love us. We were so interactive, except for the 3 or 4 people who kept on getting their phones. Y'all need to cut that out, yo. Y'all do that when ain't nobody in the theater, y'all by yourself. Other than that, like, it was a very communal experience that I haven't had in the
Right.
movie theaters since Endgame. You know what I'm saying?
Ooh,
So yeah, like it
and it
was
was a
it, it
good
wasn't
time.
it wasn't as like because it wasn't like a triumphant movie, but like it was very like we was interactive and it was really cool and I appreciate that because I already know like
I had like
okay if you come in on the Thursday night to watch the movie you really want to watch the
you
movie.
locked in. That's and I feel like I wish I would have had like more people in our viewing or whatever. But I went with my mom and V. Take V to any movie, she's gonna have a good. Just take her, and she's scary, so that don't help either. So she's da, da, da. The first 2 minutes, first like 5 minutes, you get your first jump scare.
I was like oh snap oh I wasn't ready for
And
that.
I screamed like a man. I was like, ha! I was like, whoa! Like I ain't jump, but I was like, okay, all right. And
Oh,
your aunt was just like
unnerving.
this. I said, you know what? You survived a lot of things. You just not shook. Cool, but just I will say on the second viewing, it was a full theater last night. We had a Caucasian couple right. Mind you, every time something crazy happened, white people on screen, I was like this. Yeah, y'all good? Y'all straight? All right. Okay. I'm here for you.
Yeah, and
Big dog, little dog.
and it's also funny how you can walk away from this movie like thinking like, look, man, white people's the devil, and I don't really think that should be your takeaway, other than the clans
You know.
people. You know what I'm saying? Like that really
Yeah,
shouldn't. Like they should be the clear villain, and the okay, who is the villain of this movie?
hmm. Did I have a clear villain? I didn't have a clear villain. I just think the system, to be honest, and it sounds real cliche, but I feel like the system was the villain for for everybody. Like Rami, you were a victim to your circumstance a couple of times because you got victimized as an Irish person, then you got victimized again because somebody made you a vampire. Then you got victimized low key by the Choctaw because they like, well, we don't want you here, so we gotta chase you out into the sun and get you. So I can't use you as a real antagonist. I can't use the twins. Obviously, they was doing a whole bunch of crazy stuff, but would you have needed to do this if you weren't a victim of the system, a victim of your dad? Sammie, I can't like just why can't we just all be nice and get along?
The true villain of this movie is colonialism. Because think about it. If it weren't for colonialism, wouldn't none of these people be in America except for the Choctaw?
You are correct.
So when you have people in a land that they don't belong to, doing things that they're not accustomed to, and having to learn a system that they are foreign to on foreign
Mm-hmm.
land, that's like it's just colonialism. Like that's the true villain. It's like the lasting effects of colonialism and capitalism. The lasting effects of those, like you said, as a system, but I just want to name the system, like of those two systems is what the true villain of the story is. And the fact that here's a through line. The fact that we still deal with these systems to this day is what I think the movie was trying to tell us. It's because of all these things that we have all these issues and factions and all these like genres and subgenres of things
Mm-hmm.
because we're just trying to make sense of life that we were not asked to live in. Think about it like this: if it wasn't for slavery, like we would not exist.
That could be a tree. It's crazy.
There would, I mean, if you want to believe that, there would be no reason for a lot of things. Like the
Mm-hmm.
way the world is constructed because of colonialism and capitalism and the subsequent slavery and the murdering of the native peoples across the globe,
Mm-hmm.
a lot of us wouldn't be alive. We are byproducts of the system, which is sobering to say, but it's really real. Like there would be no reason to make this movie. There would be no America, quote unquote. There would be none of this stuff. There would be none of the technological advances we have. There would be none of the reason to have like this pioneering spirit that the Black Americans have. There would be
Mm-hmm.
no Nadia. There would be no diaspora wars. There would be none of that would be happening. We would be siloed off with our particular tribes or peoples or kinsmen or however you want to
Mm-hmm.
say it, and then we will be living our lives as such, very differently. And me and you will no longer cease to exist because there would be no slavery. And also, on the other hand, there would be no reason to have like the oh no, for real, slavery. I mean, because think about it, like our great grandmother Scott Irish, so they would be like not existent. Our grandfather's Trinidadian, like he's
Yeah.
definitely two stops away from Africa on a slave ship. They just shipped him off his people or somewhere else. So again, slavery. So like we would not even be a thing. So I think the non-acknowledgement of a lot of this stuff is what makes Black Americans pissed off because we're looking at y'all like we're not saying we better than y'all, but we are very much different from y'all. So when we have these diaspora wars, it's not about we better. It's more about like we're different, and I need to acknowledge we're different. You know what I'm saying? Like I can't go back and say, "Oh, where you from in Africa?" Like I don't know. Family been here
The
for like
only reason I know.
only reason you know because you know what I'm saying your last name is Ogun Fawara. That's the only reason you know.
All the time, I'd be like, well, I was like, I'm just a little bit closer to some other,
Yeah, man.
but,
But you take that
didn't very much.
you take that half away. You roll in the same boat as us. You know what I'm saying?
But we're just out here. And I think that's what gives like lends itself to, like I always look at the arguments. I get, I don't really get to too many back and forth,
Because
and
it's
I'd be like, well, I just
stupid.
need y'all to
It's so
understand.
stupid.
Like, I just know because my daddy it was like an immigrant, but like that's literally it. Like, I very much so still foundational Black American on the side I was raised, like I was reared in. Like, you take away the old gun for war, it's like we real black over here, like normal, like just, I hate to say normal black, but just like real, like black, not like
No,
African, not Nigerian American. I you know, and I say that now just because of my last name. Whenever I discuss with people about things, because I can't just say, you know, people be like, "Oh, what are you?" And I always say an American, and they be like, and I'd be like, right back at you. But I'm just now, as I've gotten older, being able to tap into like different Yoruba things and learn different things about my dad's family. So I'm like, no, when I say like black, I'm black just like you. If you never saw my last name, you would never, even down to like, you know, West Indian tradition and stuff like that. Because, you know, we're not the most West Indian people. We
nah,
be eating
not at
food,
all. Not
but
at
you know,
all.
real regular black, you know. So it's
Didn't really start embracing some of that stuff. So I was like an older teen in my 20s.
right, like grown. Like no. Now, granted, you know, my mama would cook stuff, or we'll, you know, go to Alice. We gonna eat the food, but as far as like exit all the other stuff, I think just by proxy, I can understand
Like
that's why a little
like
bit good. So,
this is why I like the spicy stuff. Like this is why.
and you know what's crazy? You know, I didn't start liking spicy things until like 2 years ago. I couldn't do African dishes and I couldn't do Caribbean dishes. I was like, I need regular American food, and would be very like about it because you're not gonna give me acid reflux, okay? I was like, you know
Right.
what, just wasted on me. It's just been wasted. But you're correct in it, like just, and this is why, and I know people hate it, and it's probably like a hot take, but people are like, oh, we don't need more slave narratives. One of my favorite things to watch and read are slave narratives because what, you know, of course we can do be other things. We can be we can be magical. We can be, you know, this sci-fi thing. We can do be all these things, but I will never not lend credence to the people that suffered. Like, and you got to like everybody got, and everybody's suffering was the same, but it was also so unique and different. Like think about Delta Slim telling the story about how they was going up and down and doing whatever, and his friend was trying to get free, and they lynched that man, and they cut his manhood off. I was like, I'm not, no, we're always going to tell a story. I don't care if it's 50 million of them, we're going to always tell it because your life was important, and we finna tell it. Tell all of them.
Yeah, I think that's a very good counterpoint to even my thought process because I done seen my lot of slavery. You know what I'm saying? Like I get it, but
It made
just
me real
as
mad.
not, yeah, it makes me mad every time. So I be trying to quell my own anger by just not. Okay, I think here's the thing, and we can wrap on this. I think the problem with a lot of those stories is that they're not stories that are told by us.
You right.
So when a story isn't told by us, it's always viewed through the lens of we're being saved by white people, or it's just more of the tragedy of slavery. It doesn't deal with the humanity of us being enslaved. And when we do get a hold of it, like let's say like Roots or whatever, and
I
like
watch that
that
yearly.
power to you. The the fact that we're not, as you know, popular term now, we're not centered in a way that shows us being not just property but people. It's I think
Mm-hmm.
that's where like a lot of the problem lies. Like even in Sinners, they the purview of blackness to even the vampires was like y'all not really people to me. I need y'all as a product. And the product I really need
Mm.
is Sammie because he can do a thing that I want. So I'm still using your blackness as a way to satisfy a need that is within me. So when these movies and these projects are made and there is no consultation, there is no thought, there is no consideration towards how blackness has has evolved and how we have maintained and are the undergirding for what you know as America today. Hence, you know, everything happening politically right now, trying to strip us and everybody, black or brown, of dignity, of agency, and wanting to make this like you know this weirdly fake theocratic nation because it's not a real theocracy. So again, it's just capitalism. So like when that's not when those things aren't put into it, then it comes off inauthentic, and that's where like y'all can count me out. But if we can make these stories in a much more authentic way with actual real situations and real text, because there are texts that go back
Mm-hmm.
to the 1600s with like real accounts of real, what I'm saying, enslaved folks that are legit and not just propaganda, what I'm saying, then we can actually start to delve into that in a much more authentic and honest way.
I concur. So what we're hearing is what we're saying. Hollywood, we need what they said in the movie, for us by us.
Yeah, which was a really funny thing. I was like, not a FUBU reference, yo. Like,
I was like, I overstand. Put on my tinfoil hat. I
yeah, yeah. So that was like, man, very
oh man,
just a good time, man. Like I think we've ran the gamut on this. I could talk about this for the next 2.5 hours. We can't make well, y'all not gonna listen to the whole thing. So that's it for this one, man. Like we appreciate y'all. Shout out to Nadia for coming through. What I'm saying, making the time. Shout out to Tony. Safe travels back from watching wrestling.
I'm raffling.
Shout out Roman Reigns for being Uncle Tom for his people. Uh, Also, tomorrow, Last of Us review episode, season 2, episode 2. I'll be flying solo on that, so I'm gonna be to the point. Wednesday, I think that's it. Oh no, 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 I'm lying. Wednesday, yeah, it is. Yeah, I'm sorry. Wednesday, and/or season 2, episodes 1 through 3. Everybody's giving that glowing reviews. I haven't seen no reviews, but it's like everybody's like super hype. It's like a big internet circle jerk for Andor season 2. I can't wait to watch that, yo. Like, can't wait. Converts and kids will be up on that on Wednesday. But yeah, that's all we got for this one, man. We appreciate y'all. Till the next time.